Hello, rearrange the furniture a little bit and trying a different angle. I can't get rid of this glare altogether. It just seems like no matter what I do, there's going to be some glare. But I'm a little closer now, and I think that people will be able to see a lot. Yeah, so yeah, it's clear as can be. I think Eric shouldn't have any trouble from this angle. People will be able to see better. So today we're going to talk about the size of the earth and how Jesus, the name of Jesus Christ, is coded with that. And just so you understand, I'm not looking for originality. I don't make money off of any of my videos or anything like that. I don't sell any books. So, if you want to say some of it's plagiarized and I got it all from Marty Leeds or whatever, I don't care. You can say that if you want to. I'm just trying to teach people things. There might be some people who watch what I have that won't watch what he has. But a whole lot of it is from Zachary Hubbard as well, from Chicozy Truths, and a lot of it's just stuff that I've discovered on my own. So we're going to try to put it all together. And what I'd like to do is I'm a big picture kind of person. And so when I see all the information put together, it seems to make a lot more sense to me. And, I'm one of these people that literally before even Google Earth was made, just a weird way my brain works is if I see the Earth and I'm trying to get from, just downtown here in my local town, I will visualize in my head the entire world, spin it just like you do on Global Earth, zoom in just like that. But I've done it before it even existed. Zoom into America and to Ohio and Belgrade, and I'll just zip it right, and that's just how I see. So big picture is easier for me to understand. So maybe it'll help you to see all the pieces together with the gematria. We're going to cover a lot today. I'm not going to get in a hurry. I've got several hours. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we'll see. If you can't see or something, or let me know. I'll try to move things around a little bit. I know it's late. It's 1:30 a.m. here, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of live audience tonight. But if you're watching it later, just leave some messages and then comments or something, if you would, please. So feedback does help. Feel free to ask a question too. So first thing that I want to do is I want to teach the size of the Earth here, okay, according to the measurements that they give us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw snowman, okay, just the body and the head, okay. This is going to represent, the body's going to represent the Earth, and the head is going to represent the moon, okay. And if I lose you at the beginning, hold on, because we're going to explain. We're going to be here for a while, so I'm going to explain all these numbers, okay, in time. So just be patient. So right here, the diameter of the moon is 2,160 miles. And the diameter of the Earth, I'll put the diameters over here, okay, is 7,920. Added these together, let's make sure, yep, should be able to see it. Added together is a total of 10,080. Let's see, I need to write that a little thicker. 10,080. There we go, yeah. And this is the diameter, okay? On this side, we're going to make the radius. The radius starts in the center of a circle and goes to the edge. The radius, interestingly, of the moon is the same numbers as the total diameter of the moon and Earth added together, okay? Just drop a zero, okay? I mean, it's kind of interesting here. So this little section right here is 1,080. Okay, yep. And that means, see, the radius of the Earth is 3,960. So when you add those together, they equal 5,040. All right, because my board's not that big, at some point I'm going to have to erase. So wouldn't hurt if you're watching this video to grab a pen and paper and write this stuff down. Pause it, write it down, and that way you can see when I erase and go on to the next thing, and you can still follow along. Because unless you're some kind of a savant or something, you're not going to be able to memorize the sheer amount of volume of what we're going to talk about today. Oh, well, hello, Martin. Appreciate that, buddy. So let's see. So we're going to say right here, where do these numbers come from? And why they just pick these numbers. Are they actually legitimate measurements? Well, we're going to see, okay? The 2,160, I want you to consider this, that we are run in this world by people who worship the measurements of a cube, or Kabbalah. It sounds a whole lot like Kaaba, which is the square that the Muslims go in Mecca and they dance around. Muslims put the little, Jews put the little square on their hats and or on their head and pray with it on their head. It's the same thing. Now the thing about a cube, okay, is that each degree is 90. Okay, so you got 90, 90, 90, and 90. That's just on one face, and a cube has 6 sides. So 90 times 4 is 360, and times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 sides is 2,160. So all the angles of a cube end up adding up to 2,160. That's one place where we get one of these numbers from. But there's more, okay? And okay, so let's go to 2,160. This, make sure, yeah, be able to see it all right. We're going to draw a pentagram. Does not have to have a circle around it, okay? This is freehand, so it's not going to be perfect. Okay. All right. You can tell I failed art class, huh? Okay. Okay. So if measured with a protractor, you draw it accurately, not with a freehand. Okay, this is what's going to happen. There's 360 degrees in a circle, so the top's going to be 360. And going in order, we're going to start with 72 degrees over here, 144 over here, 216 right here, and 288 over here. If you've never watched any other videos I've done, or any other videos from Marty Leeds or Hubbard or Scozy or any of them, start watching and you'll see these numbers show up a whole lot. Why? Because, well, look right here. We already have a third repeat of this number. We have the cube, the star, and the diameter of the moon. So it makes one wonder, is it a real measurement? You know? And I never hear it discussed by any official source, so you have to wonder why they never talk about this. And I'm not saying it's not, because I literally don't know. I mean, how can I personally measure width of the moon? I don't know how to do that. I don't have the tools. I don't have the knowledge. So, you know, it may or may not be. But in Gematria, Key of David, which is a pretty important concept in the Bible, Key of David equals 216. And interestingly, the next prime number after the Key of David, or after 216, I'm sorry, get my words mixed up, is 223. So what do we know about 223? Well, that's the infamous number that you see on all the movies for Skull and Bones. When George Bush landed at his daddy Bush's funeral, guess when he landed? At 3:22 p.m. When Tim Russer interviewed George Bush and John Kerry about Skull and Bones, about a week or so later, he was found dead. Guess what time they reported him dead? At 3:22. So this is part of the reason why you see that number so much, and the fact that it's in Genesis 3:22 and somewhere in Revelation as well, things related to that. Now, we see that it's related to the moon, right? Because it's the diameter of the moon, 2160 and 223. Okay. Well, how do these things go together? Well, if you take Neil Armstrong's statement, and I'm not going to try to write it all out. You can type it in gematrinator.com if you want to verify this for yourself. Okay? If you type in the way that Neil Armstrong said that he said it, and not the way everybody hears it, then this is what it comes to. One small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. Notice how I put a man. Neil Armstrong says he said the letter A in there, a man. But most people heard it as one small step for man. Well, you type that in and it sums to 223 while he was on the moon. You see, the nearest prime number. Not only does it show skull and bones, but it goes in perfectly with 216. In Hebrew gematria, the words, the moon, sum to 223. So if you actually copy and paste in Hebrew, the moon, and you can actually do this on gematrinator.com. He has that cipher that can read that. Open up Hebrew gematria and paste it in there, and it will actually sum to 223. And 6 times 6 times 6. How does this relate to 666 in the Bible? Well, 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. Now, I wish I had a bigger board, and I wish I could just keep on writing, but I'm going to have to erase some things. Just don't have any choice. So if you have not written anything down yet, this would be a good place to pause it temporarily and just write these notes down. So erase this here. Notice this angle 144 for a minute. Let's talk about that. Does anybody know where 144 is talked about a lot? It's talked about in the Bible, right? Okay, Revelations 14, I think. And Revelations 13, 18, okay, talks about 666. And we just saw that 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Well, there's more to that we'll get to here in a minute. My notes are a little disorganized, so when we get to it, I'll tie in some more to that. But one thing you might want to be aware of, okay, we were talking about the Earth and the Moon. Well, the speed of Earth's orbit around the Sun is considered to be, okay, 6, and that's how the Earth, not the rotation or anything, but the actual speed that it travels around the Sun, according to reports. Is that the Sun? Okay. Well, it supposedly goes around the Sun at 66,660 miles per hour. A whole lot of sixes right there, isn't it? Like, remember when the astronauts stayed on the space station for 666 days? I mean, what are the coincidences? But even more interesting, so keep your note from your snowman there that we just erased, okay? But this speed in kilometers per hour is, guess what? 108,000 miles or kilometers per hour. So, I mean, are they real measurements? Are they? I mean, I don't know. Hello, Noctur. So 108,000 kilometers per hour. So that's the measurement of the moon. What are the chances of that? I don't think they're chances at all. I don't know if they're just making it up, and they might be. But another 180, and we'll get back to exactly why later, okay, why they do this. But go look at your snowman that you drew, and you see the 5,040, and you divide it by 28, and it becomes 180. Well, 28 is important because 28 is the number of days in a lunar month. It's the lunar cycle, 28 days, you know. So let's go. I don't think we're done with the 144 just yet. Definitely not. Okay, back to 144 up here. So 144 is the 12th Fibonacci number. Okay, so the 12th Fibonacci number. That's, if you don't know what the Fibonacci number is, that has to do with the golden ratio and the spiral. All life, not all life, but well, I'd say all life because all life has DNA in it, and DNA is measured with the golden ratio in it. I actually checked, and I was absolutely amazed by that because I had a theory that it probably was, and sure enough, it was. But all sunflowers, anything that goes in a spiral, a galaxy spiral, spirals according to the golden ratio. Okay, water going down a drain, a tornado, a hurricane. So you heard a noise? Well, I don't know. It's pretty quiet up here. My little office is in the attic, and all the kids are asleep. I don't know what you heard, buddy. So, but thanks for letting me know, though. Now, the 12th Fibonacci, okay, is that kind of like how in Revelations that the 144,000 had 12,000 from each tribe? Because it's the 12th Fibonacci number, you see. So 12,000 from each tribe of Israel were to be saved during the tribulation period. Now, the previous prime before 144, previous prime number is 139. And if you have watched Zach Hubbard at all, okay, you know this, that 139 is the number associated very often with Freemasonry. What am I talking about? Open up gematrinator.com. Okay, open up the calculator, type in the word Freemasonry. Okay, and that equals 139. Okay, in the alphabetical order, the first order. I don't know what you're hearing, buddy. You hearing me tap on the board, maybe? So, I'm not sure what it is. You heard a yell? I don't know what it is. Nobody yelling here. Okay, so, and interestingly enough, okay, this is why this number, and I mean, it is on a lot of decodes. When the Marjorie Douglas School shooting happened, Parkland, Florida, this number was, I think, the address on the sign. If I got the right killing right in my head, I think that was on part of the address. But that's it's in so many decodes. You see this all the time because it's associated with Freemasonry. Well, 139 divided by 44 equals pi. Sorry, I'm writing it backwards, but I'm running out of space. I have to erase again. So what's so significant about 44? Well, this is why part of the reason why I think that there is so much Freemasonry killings. Yeah, Doctor, I'm talking about the size of the Earth and size of the moon and how it's going to be associated with the symbols of the pentagram or the angles of the pentagram, and with Freemasonry, how it's going to be coded with Jesus Christ here in a minute. So we got a lot to go. So, but I definitely think you should probably go back and rewind, start from the beginning, because there's a lot to write down, and this is kind of building. So it's probably not a bad idea if it lets you at this point. If not, you can always rewind afterward. So let's see. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So 139 Freemasonry divided by 44 equals pi. Okay. Now, in the gematrinator.com, you see that the word kill equals 44. Okay, and it is often that a lot of the ritual killings and the decodes we do, we believe are Freemason killings and are very often associated with Pi, just like all the murders that happened, like the one that just happened on Pi Day. There were all kinds of celebrities that died as well. Some of them we got covered, but and others covered. But besides all the celebrity deaths, the big mosque shooting was on Pi Day, March 14th. Okay, there's no question that they use Pi a lot, and just seems like a whole lot of decodes have something to do with Pi and Freemasonry, showing a lot of association. You know, I'm sorry I have to erase so much, but it's not a very big board. So a lot of things you're going to want to write down and all that. So you can follow along better. Now let's start going into some of the stuff that I learned from Marty Leeds. And tying all this, it makes more sense when you see the whole thing together, you see. All right. Now let's start with you know, I'll tell you about that. I didn't tell you about 72 yet. Let's do that first, okay? The precession of the equinox. That's another thing. So it covers this number and this number. And what I mean by that is the edge of the galaxy. Supposedly the Earth moves up and above the edge of the galaxy every 25,920 years. And if you divide that by the 12 days of the month, it equals, guess what? Another 2,160, right? And 1% of that is 72. So we move every 72 years, we move 1 degree up and down of that equinox, the precessional equinox. Some people say the Sphinx actually measures that. You can go and Google that yourself, but I'm not going to get into that because I have no idea if that's true or not. But there are some very interesting videos about that. If so, that would mean that the Sphinx is very, very, very old, and it may be. I don't know. Okay. So here you see how 72 and 216 is related again and again with 144,000. Incidentally, 288 over here. You open up gematrinator.com, and I do not specifically remember which cipher off the top of my head. So you'll have to open up all ciphers to see which one. But Bavarian Illuminati comes to 288. Something to keep in mind. Now, another 216 here. And this, I think, at this point, it'd be good to start explaining how to use the Septenary Cipher. And this is what Marty Leeds uses exclusively. He's not a big fan of the other ciphers, but I feel that cover proves 1,000 times a day how important the other ciphers are. Okay, so this is how the Septenary Cipher works. Okay, it's based on the 7 days of the week. So literally, all the letters of the alphabet are just repeated. Okay, over and over again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And if you want to see the rest, look, all you got to do, this is on the gematrinator.com. Okay, so you don't write this down. You can look at it later. Okay, and then it just goes backwards. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the letters, more than one letter will be represented by the same number. H, I, J, K, L, M, and then it just starts all over again. And it does the same thing, okay? So, and it just all the way to Z. It goes up to 7 and then that counts back down again. And that's a real simple cipher, but it's based on the beginning of Genesis, the 7-day week. And certainly, when you start seeing how all the moon and the measurements of the equinox and all this, why wouldn't they use that? It just makes sense, So this is the primary cipher that is used in the Bible, probably intended to be used the most by those who translated the King James Bible, by the King James translators. Now, the word Yeshua. Using that septenary cipher, these are the numbers that represent these letters. 256661. Well, you say, wait, there's a 666 in the name of Jesus? Yes. Okay. Because Jesus is represented by this whole pentagram thing. Pentagrams are not just instantly evil. Now, in witchcraft, they actually put the star down, and you'll notice that the first George Bush took the stars on the elephant on the Republican symbol and he turned them all upside down. Before George Bush, they were all pointing straight up. Okay. So, in that sense, it could be represented as evil when you turn this on its head. But a pentagram is not just automatically evil, it's just geometry. Okay. And so the names of Jesus are coded with the geometry. Well, if you take these numbers and you multiply them, 2 times 5 times 6 times 6 times 6, obviously you don't need the 1, it equals 2,160. 216 again. Not a coincidence, okay? And the name of Jesus Christ itself, look at this, okay? If you take these numbers, using the 7 days of the week cipher, the septenary cipher, like September used to be the 7th month, now it's the 9th month. That's why September 11 is the same thing as 7-Eleven, like the gas station. And 7-Eleven sums to Jew own sums to 7-Eleven, in one of the ciphers, or probably 117 reverse. All right, so anyway, back to Jesus Christ here. 45666 again. Okay. Like I said, 666 is not evil. Then you got the days of the number of days in a year, 365. See, this is pretty clever if you think about it. So you got the 666 for geometry and the days of the year, and then just a straight sequence, 5, 6, 7. Okay. If you add these, 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, that's 27. And if you add 3 plus 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, that equals 32. Multiply 27 times 32, and it equals 864. Well, what's special about that? This is a very important number dealing with, you smoke weed? No, I don't smoke weed. I do have a little bit of a leftover cold here that I was really bad yesterday, but my voice is still kind of deep from what's left of it. So normally I actually sing tenor, but my voice sounds really deep today. That's funny. No, I don't smoke or drink or none of that stuff. So what is 864? Well, the diameter of the sun is 864,000 miles. Okay. The number of seconds in a day is 86,400. I got that right? So you see that Jesus is coded, again, with the sun. It's interesting to notice that in the book of Malachi, the last book of the Old Testament, that the prophet says that the Messiah will come and that he will be called the Son of Righteousness. He spells it S-U-N. So if you say that Jesus is coded with the sun, and somebody says you're just speaking blasphemy or something, you can literally just take them to the King James Bible and show them right there in the last book of the Old Testament the prophet said that he's the Son of Righteousness. S-U-N. Okay. Now, this might throw some people for a loop. So if you're weak in your faith a little bit, this might be a time to skip or something, okay? But in the Egyptian mysteries, Horus also, Horus, also multiplied across 6, 2, 5 equals 2,160 as well. You probably did hear that. It's one of those stupid notices. I hate those things. There it goes again. But I'll welcome that one. Oh, look, it's just gonna send them all to me here right now. I love it. Okay, so yes, they are summed with the Egyptian mysteries as well. No mistake in that. Okay, now let's take 27 and 32 here to the next level. And we'll see another 2160. Okay. We've taken Jesus Christ down here, and instead of multiplying right here, what we're going to do is we're going to write out the number or the words 27. Oh, I'm going to have to erase this. Just we're working from here down. Okay. Just don't have enough room on this little board. I have no idea about the Crown, bud. Honestly, I have one back here on my shelf. Maybe I'll look through it someday. But they are cube worshippers, so no doubt they're going to have the 2160 in the Kaaba. You know. All right, so like I said, we're dealing now with the 27 and the 32. Okay, from Jesus Christ, where we put the value and then added the value. Now we're going to spell these words out. You can do this on demonstrator.com. Use the calculators, and it's really simple, okay? I'm just going to write it out so you can see. 27 and 32. All right. And then each one of these using the Septenary Cipher. You write the numbers 7, 4, 5, 1, 7, 2, 6, 5, 5, 1, 7, 6, 5, 5, 7, 2, 7, 4, 2. Okay. And they do show up if you type them in on the calculator. Makes it a little easier to follow. Add these numbers. 7 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1 plus 7 plus 2 plus 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 1. That equals 48. Add these numbers. 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 7 plus 2 plus 7 plus 4 plus 2 is 45. Multiply 48 times 45, and what do you get? 2,160 again, just like this. So how many times does Jesus equal the moon? Lord of heaven and of earth. Well, when you saw the snowman back at the beginning that we drew, that's what it's talking about, the moon representing one of the 7 luminaries. It's interesting that there's 7 luminaries and we're using the Septenary Cipher. And that, if you can find the calendar of your moon using your hands, because you're just like Marty Leeds says, there's 14 bones in each hand. So it equals 28, like the days of the moon. So you literally have a calendar on your hands, which is really cool. Your creator actually thought of that. That to me is pretty amazing. All right, see, I already did Yahweh, didn't I? In Hebrew, take my word for this, because I'm not going to try to draw those Hebrew letters, because I'll just screw them up too bad. The word Shaddai, and you can, if you want to find it online, and copy and paste it into the Hebrew cipher on demonstrator.com, it sums to 314. I think multiplied. So, of course, pi is 314. And then the tetragrammaton, the Yod He Vav He, the 4 letters that are translated in the King James Bible as Lord, L-O-R-D, capital letters. Well, okay, Yod He Vav He, which are backwards in Hebrew. I'm just going Yod He Vav He. 5, 6, 5, 10 added together equals 26. A lot like 216. There's actually a rule in Gematria called the rule of Kollel, where you can erase one number and it means the same thing. Okay. Look up the rule of Kollel if you like. And for some people, you say, well, okay, so does this prove that the measurements of the universe are completely invented? You know, they might be, or they might be completely accurate. And if that's the case, then this is really, really amazing. And I literally don't know. So again, okay, using the Septenary Cipher, Lord God. Which is all throughout the Old Testament, okay, the way it's spelled. This is the Yod He Vav He, is always translated Lord in the Old Testament in English. Well, these letters are 2, 2, or they sound like this: 2, 2, 5, 4, and 7, 2, 4, which added together is 26. Again, like 216. And interestingly enough, it does some with the other mysteries, like Saturn, which is 6, 1, 7, 6, 5, 1 added together is also 26. So they've done this about 500 ways to 1. Just a million different ways they've done this. I mean, whoever thought of this had to have been pretty smart, just to be honest. Let's see. Elohim. This is the plural of God in the first chapter of Genesis. Okay. Let us create man in our image is talking about Elohim. Well, that's 5. I don't understand my notes on that one. So if I do that one, then you know what? Just forget that one. I'm not even 100% sure what I wrote, to be honest with you. So anyway, it makes it 26. But not that way. It's a different way. It's a little bit more creative on that one, and I can't tell what I did. Just pretend like I didn't say that one. Actually, it ends up being 34, which is like pi, not 26. All right. Okay. Now you have seen why these numbers are important, how they go into sacred geometry and the measurements of the heavens. Now with the decodes, you're going to see that these numbers show up a lot. 216, which we just showed you 50 million different ways, represents Jesus Christ, okay? Half of 216 is 108. There are supposedly 108 moon widths from the moon to the earth. And supposedly, there are 108 sun widths from the sun to the earth. And what does all this mean? Well, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. All I can tell you is that it's very clearly and definitely coded with the Septenary Cipher. There's no question that this is 100% proof that it definitely was coded. Now, you'll have to determine for yourself what exactly does it mean in every situation. I can tell you this, that what I'm about to show you now, that some people use this knowledge for evil. And every ritual killing you see will have these numbers, and they almost always have 108. Okay? Because like we said, that was the diameter or the radius of the moon, the diameter of the whole Earth and moon together. And like I said, the moon there's 108 moon widths from the moon to the Earth, 108 sun widths from the sun to the Earth. Now, if you write down Lord Jesus Christ in the Greek language, okay, which is something like this, okay, I'm no expert in Greek, okay, Kurios, Jesus, I'm so not good at this, Jesus Christos, which is what? How do you do that with this? I don't know. It's been a while. Okay. I think that's right. Okay. Well, you punch in, if you use the Greek gematria, which has its own values, but you can also find it on the gematrinator.com. Okay. This sums to 3168 using a Greek cipher, not the septenary cipher that we were using before. But interestingly, divide it by our 1008. And what does it equal? Pi, 3.14. Circle, 360 degrees in a circle, right? So one more way. Now, if you think it's not, if it's just, well, let's just go through the big ones before I go to the local ones, okay? Where do we see these 108s? Now, the first person murdered in the Parkland shootings name was Al Death. It's an Arab name, Elisa, something like that. Okay. Now, punch her name into the gematrinator using the septenary cipher, and it sums to 1008. You can multiply it across, of course. Okay. And there's 1008. The Las Vegas shooting started at 10:08. The Tree of Life shooting ended at 11:08. Just the other day, the Masjid al-Noor Mosque, the zip code was 8011. Believe me, they're not done with this code. The following day, well, I guess partly the same day, 3:15, there was a hammer attack in London at a mosque where some people that, if you can see this on Zachary Hubbard's video, okay, they use hammers and they beat up this guy, and he was talking about it. Well, at the London mosque attack, that happened at 1:18. Just very close derivatives of the 1:8 thing, okay? Remember, zero really doesn't mean anything, so if you take the zero out, you're still saying the same thing. On August 19, 1965, on Launchpad 19, remember, 19 is, punch that in, and that's the word for, or that's the number for chaos. Punch in chaos in the gematrinator calculator, and you'll see a value of 19 for that. Well, on August 19, 1965, Launchpad 19, the Gemini 5 rocket, I guess. Okay, it was stopped. It was halted at 1:08 p.m. And this is the interesting thing. It was halted, but it wasn't halted directly because of, but it was noticed in the same article that Gary Ralph Young, who was 22 years old, and Theodore Lee Ballard, who was 17 years old, Okay, had come within 200 feet of the Titan rocket. Well, take away the 7, and that suspiciously looks a lot like pi. 2227. 22 divided by 7. We're gonna go to a whole bunch more on the 2s and the 1s and the 7s here in a minute anyway. So it's definitely a 217 or a pi. Okay, however you want to look at that. 22 divided by 7 is shorthand for pi, by the way. So that launch pad was stopped, or that launch of the rocket was stopped at 108. The Parkland shooting was in the year 2018. There's a 108 in there. 9/11 ended at 10/28. So got our 108 there. The USS Cole bombing, and my brother was on the Cole. Okay, in the time over in Yemen, the time was 11:18 a.m. Okay, so still got our 1/8s. By the way, the word ritual in the gematrinator.com sums to 81. So if you see 81 again, these are Masonic rituals, ritual murders. The Columbine massacre, okay, started at 11:19, like 911, and it ended at 12:08. Exactly the same as this one. All righty. And Eric Harris of the Columbine shooting punched his name into gematrinator.com and using the English alphabetical order. That's where A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, and you just continue that process till you get to Z equals 26. That's simple, the simplest form of English gematria. One of the killers of the Columbine massacre, Eric Harris, sums to 108. Not a coincidence. Now, do you think that somebody in your neighborhood is killing people by this code? And let me tell you, the answer is 100% yes. You can go on my page or my channel here and look under my playlists and find a series that I'm doing about justice for Jalea. Jalea Davis was a young lady, 20 years old, who was murdered in our neighborhood by an obvious, to me, though I'm the only one that knows it, apparently, by a very obvious ritualistic killing. Well, her name, Jalea Davis, whose name, by the way, is Jehovah, hallelujah, however you want to look at it, okay? Very much a sacrifice of Jesus Christ, just like the Las Vegas shooting was, okay? Jalea Davis, using the Septenary Cipher, which is the same cipher that we used to find Al-Hadefa Elisa from the Parkland shooting. And her numbers are 41251216 41556. Add them together and multiply. It's either multiply straight across or you had to add them and then multiply. I forget which way I did it. It wouldn't take you very long to find it. Equals 1080. And on March 6th of this year, Miss Teen Universe Lot, and I forget, she's from I don't know, Denmark or something. So this is an unusual spelling. I forget which to us English speakers, this is an odd spelling. Van der Zee. Okay. Miss Teen Universe. Okay. Using this same cipher. Okay. First, you'll see that added, it equals all the numbers of her name added together equals 55. Then you write out the words 50, 5. More than one way to use the septenary cipher. They do it several different ways. And 55 equals 108 in the basic English alphabetical order. It's a little bit more roundabout for hers, but there it is. Once again, and why 108? Remember how we said that 108 is the radius of the moon? Okay, 1080. Women are coded with the moon. The moon is 28. The moon cycles 28 days of the month, and a woman is, her body's built to menstruate every 28 days. Okay, so that's why women are often coded and ritualistically murdered by this 108 number. Just like the movie we just saw, Captain Marvel, sums to 108. No accident. Okay, and you'll see right away that Captain Marvel netted the first weekend $153 million. And I promise you that was not really what they netted. It doesn't matter. They made that up for a reason. Because when Jesus, this is 153, when Jesus told the disciples to cast their net back into the water, they caught 153 fish. That 153 is very important because it's connected with fish. Okay, well, fish is the Vesica Pisces number. Or, okay, I think Vesica Pisces even sums to 153 if I'm not mistaken. You have to punch it in later and check. But this is the Christian symbol of fish. Okay, well, Jesus sums with the moon. Okay, and this is just basically the same. This is like a vagina symbol. Okay, kind of looks a little bit like a vagina. So that's where that comes from. So, all right. So Jalea Davis sums to 1008 using the same cipher and done the same way as Alpha Def Alisa. No mistake about that. And Miss Teen Universe and Jalea Davis were both 20 years old when they were murdered. Also, this pentagram. Forgive the free-handed, not so good art here. But each one of these inner angles is 108. 108 degrees, okay? 5 times. Sorry for the poor handwriting. But every inner angle of the pentagram is, or like a pentagon, is 108 degrees. And these angles are 72, just like this. 72, 72, 72, 72, 72, 72, 72, 72. And 72 divided by 108 equals 0.666. See? All the sacred geometry, when you put it all together, you understand this can't just be coincidence. It's either sign of amazing design, and the measurements are 100% accurate, or of an amazing construct, and none of it's accurate. I don't have a way to prove it, okay? So you have to decide for yourself. Interestingly also, about that 666, we've already mentioned it a number of times, but the tilt of the Earth is tilted on its axis at 23.4 degrees, which means the other measurement, I guess this is probably the 23.4. Yeah, because that would be the smaller one. Okay, it's 23.4 degrees, which means the other measurement is, guess what? 66.6 to add to 90, you see. that make sense? Hopefully. All right. And we got the 144 here. And the 144,000 divided by 666 equals 216.216 for infinity. Okay. So, again, all these numbers are related. Okay. And that's how they're related. You know, the 666 doesn't show up here. This is how that's still related to all this. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Okay. And again, Revelations 13:18, which mentions the mark of the beast as being 666. Okay, Revelations 13:18. "13 times 18 equals 234. This is a sacred number, sacred geometry, because its mirror, just 432. If you add it together, okay, 234 plus 432 is what? 666. That's why Revelation 13:18, that talks about the mark of the beast, is where it is. Interestingly, the name Moses. One, 2, 6, 5, 6. Multiplied across equals 2 times 6 times 5 times 6 equals 432. Okay, which is just this mirror. So you mirror it the other way. Which is 2, 3, 4 equals 666. Let's see. We said the diameter of the Earth was 7,000. Go back to your snowman from the very beginning of the video. 7,920 divided by the 12 days or 12 months of the year. And it's not quite 666, but it's close. It's 660. Okay. Or like the 66 degrees of the Earth, if you want to put it like that. 0.6. Pretty darn close. Okay. It's in the ballpark. Okay, isn't it interesting that the police code for nationwide emergency is also 666? And let's see, prison sentence in the Satanic Cipher equals 666. And Revelations 13:18 is what Zachary Hubbard says all the time, is what's called a Greek isopsephy riddle. This is spelled like this. And isopsephy in the reverse Sumerian cipher that you can open up on the gematrinator.com calculator equals 666. So does basketball game, incidentally. Do you think that means anything? Okay. Now, Revelation 13:18 again. I am not going to write out the entire verse. But if you do, and you take the A out of it, okay, where it says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 Kind of like when Neil Armstrong went to the moon, and he says the A was there, but it really wasn't, you know, or whatever. But, you know, in that case, he had to have, in this case, if you remove it, which is really interesting, the entire verse sums to 531. Some people say this is reading into it a little bit. I'm not so sure. Because in Greek, there's such a thing as arthrous nouns and anarthrous nouns. Certain nouns take articles, some don't. I'm not sure about the word man or anything. I'm no scholar in Greek, you know. But 531 plus 135 is 666. Okay. And where was that? I do want to tell you that one. So there's just so many notes on this, you know. It's hard to keep them all perfectly organized. There it is. Okay. Show you another sacred number here, where it comes from. And it's pretty important one. Okay, we showed you Lord Jesus Christ in Greek. Let's just do Christ in English. Here it is. Yeah, found it. Okay. Just the word Christ by itself. Like we said earlier, 3, 6, 5, 5, 6, 7. 365 days a year in a short sequence, okay? Multiplied equals 18,900. Well, 18,900, the square root is 137.48, or rounded up to 0.5, okay? And that's what's known, 137.5 is what is known as the angle of philo-taxis. Philo-taxis is based off of phi, or the golden ratio, 1.61. It's kind of like the opposite angle of it, or however you want to call it. Well, that's it's spelled P-H, I'll just tell you, P-H-Y-L-L-O-T-A-X-I-S. And what that means is when there's a stem of a tree or a plant growing and it wants to create a leaf or a new stem, it'll bud off at exactly 137.5 degrees. There we go, 137.5 degrees. That's what that's supposed to say. And that's called philo-taxis. It's encoded within the name of Christ, another sacred number. Now, a lot of these killings have the 108s. They have pi in it. They have phi in it. Well, what are some of the commonalities? Well, let's take 3.14, okay, is pi, all right? But let's take the shorthand of it. In fact, if you hold down the Alt button and you punch the numbers 227 while you're holding it down, it'll give you a pi symbol. Okay, you can try that sometime, but you have to use the number board. I don't think it works on the numbers on the top of the keyboard. Okay. Well, shorthand is 227 because 22 divided by 7 is 3. Gosh, say one thing and draw another. 22 divided by 7 is 3.14. Okay. Now, the tree of life shooting. Oh, well, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. 22.7. Well, and let's go to E. This is important too. So this was pi. Now let's do E. E is the It's a mathematical symbol that means growth over time. Okay, on one of those fancy calculators, you'll see an E on there. Okay, and it's 2.17 is the value. And it's one. There's no. It goes 1 more. I forgot what it is. Basic, pretty close to 22 and 7, right? And in fact, there's when I used to sell insurance or attempt to sell insurance, I didn't try it very long because I was really bad at it. Well, there's something called the rule of 72, which is just these numbers, okay? Numbers, basically. And what you do is if you take the number 72 and you divide it by your interest rate. So say you put $100 in the bank. Let's see. How's that work, cent? Okay, the rule of 100. 72 divided by your interest rate. It'll tell you how many years it takes for your money to double. So 72 divided by 5%. Okay, so this is how many years it'll take. Yeah, and then you figure it out. So you have $100. Okay, so this is just a representation of growth over time. So whatever that sums to. Let's do a round number. 8 times 9. Let's use 8%. So it'll take 9 years, at 8% for your money to double. So you have $100 at 8%, it would take 9 years for it to double, I think. Okay, if I did that right. You can see why I didn't stick around with insurance too long. So 22 divided by 7 is pi. 2.17 is E. And you will see these numbers in a whole lot of our ritual killings that happen. For example, the Tree of Life shooting happened at 10:27. Okay, 1, 2, and 7. Okay. Pearl Harbor, the Tree of Life shooting, that was in Pittsburgh, in case you don't know. Okay, how's that synagogue, the Tree of Life synagogue that got shot up in Pittsburgh? All right, now the date on that was 10/27 of 2018. So Pearl Harbor was on 12/7. You see, the World Trade Center's numbers, if you remember, were towers 1, 2, and 7. Interestingly enough, the Lusitania, which was the false flag attack that got us into World War I, the sinking of the Lusitania, to the beginning of the Korean War. 1, 2, 7, 7, 4 days. A lot of these big events, these big false flag shootings and things, are connected to George Bush's 1991 New World Order speech. That was 10 years to the day before 9/11. Connected to that speech is July 4th, 1776. From July 4th, 1776 to George Bush's, the first George Bush's, New World Order speech on September 11, 1991 was 11,227 days. 22 divided by 7, you have pi. That's not a coincidence, folks. There's no way that's a coincidence. Okay, from that speech to the Gulf of Tonkin incident, the false flag event that got us into Vietnam. 27 years, 19 days. 2, 7, 1. And of course, chaos, 19. Okay. The Cole happened. The USS Cole attack happened on October 12, and there were 17 people killed. Okay, 1, 2, and 7. All right. Now, if you think that I'm reaching there a little bit, consider this: 17 years after was the Parkland shooting, and guess how many people were killed there? 17. Okay. I mean, really, is that really a coincidence? Is it also a coincidence that the captain of the ship was at the Pentagon on 9/11, and that I'm sorry, I wasn't in the Navy, my brother was, but the assistant, what do you call the vice, the second command or whatever on the ship, whatever his title was, he was also at in a separate shooting. No, he wasn't the shooter, but he was at a separate shooting in another 9/11 building. Okay, a building called 9/11 something. I don't have that note in front of me, but I mean, seriously, it's all just coincidences. Okay, no, it's not. And again, we were talking about how the rocket from Gemini back in August 19 of 1965, which was on launch pad 19, was halted at 1:08 p.m. And then we said that Gary Ralph Young was 22 and 17. See, no mistake about this. Why they used the two people that walked out on the launch pad were 22 and 17. Now, ritual, we said earlier, is 81. Okay, type in ritual in your demonstrator, and you're going to see two main numbers. You're going to see 27, sorry, and 81. Okay, like the 108 that we had earlier from the diameter of the moon, all that we talked about earlier. Well, ritual equals 27. See that all these twos and sevens, these are ritual 27 numbers. And this is the reason that there's a 27 club where so many people, famous celebrities, are killed at 27 years old, especially singers. Okay. I was even watching a video with my kids, a Weird Al video, and he had like 4 or 5 times and he had the number 27. My kids get tired of me pointing out everything, but I was like, look at that, 27 again, 27 again. Like 4 or 5 videos, there was 27, 27. So they actually looked it up, and somebody apparently had asked Weird Al at one point, why do you put 27 in your videos? And he said, well, because it's the square root of some big long number. Well, and basically he was very discreetly telling us that he understands Kabbalah. I'm pretty sure that he's Jewish, if I'm not mistaken. So that would not be any surprise. L. Ron Hubbard's book, Dianetics. I did a video on this recently. I'd encourage you to go back and look about my Scientology video. Well, his book, Dianetics, multiplied out with the Septenary Cipher equals 36,000, added together equals 37. Then you take 36,000 divided by 37, and what do you come up with? 1702. Again, 172, 172, 172. Now, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Open up your Gematria calculator and type in those words, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And in the full reduction cipher, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry sums to 127. Type in the phrase Bavarian Illuminati, so Bavarian, Bavarian, like a province in Germany, I think it is. It's where the Illuminati got their start. And in the reverse full reduction, it sums to 127. It's not possible it's all coincidence, is it? Is it really? Now, Hebrew, the Hebrew language, has 12 simple letters and 7 doubles. What do I mean by that? Well, the 7 doubles are the 7 luminaries of the ancient world before they discovered some of the planets that we've discovered here in the last century or so. The 7 doubles, meaning that certain letters of the Hebrew language stand for Mercury, the Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, the Sun, and Mars. And the simples side with the zodiac signs. So those 12 of the Hebrew letters, some with Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So again, 12 simples, 7 doubles. Back to the Parkland shooting again. Now the Parkland shooting, if you type in the words in the gematrinator.com calculator, it's and you type the school that was shot up, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Make sure you open up the Jewish cipher, and you'll see that that sums to 2222. And the Septenary cipher 117. That's 217 again. I see these numbers together fairly frequently. Somewhat related here is when George Washington was born on 2/22, February 22nd. And 44 years later was July 4th, 1776. 44 doesn't only mean kill, it also means appointed. So you may have an appointed time to die, or you may have an appointed event in your life, according to this Jewish symbolism. And definitely the 2222 is related. And mainly it's related because of 1, 2, and 7. Okay, and 22 divided by 7. So I also found an interesting pattern. I was playing with my calculator, just a plain calculator on the computer here. And I'm not going to try to write it out because it's a whole lot of numbers. Man, it's a lot. But if you take phi, which is 1.618, and then you just keep multiplying it times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, times 7, get the answers, okay? And then add each one of those numbers together, okay? Whatever the answer is times 2, okay? And then add each one of the numbers, okay? And then reduce them according to the rules of numerology, which, you know, what I'm just making it up, okay? But whatever they are, you know, you just, any double-digit number, you reduce to a number less than 2 digits. So like 1 plus 2 would be 3, okay? I apologize if it's a little confusing. There's just so much information, okay? And let's see. Trent's asked me, are we using Jewish or English gematria? Well, we've used about 7 or 8 different ciphers throughout this video. So you probably have to just kind of start from the beginning, probably, to go see all the ones we use. I tried to tell you, I may forget from time to time, but I try to tell you which one I'm using. If I'm writing numbers below it, I'm using the Septenary cipher. And where was I? Okay, well, anyway, so I saw a pattern here when I multiplied out phi times 2 times 3 times 4, added the numbers together, and then numerologically reduced those answers. And the results that I found were 2, 2, 2, 7, and then it repeated 2, 2, 2, 7. It just went on and on and on and on and on forever. Okay, so 22 divided by 7, or pi, was coded within phi. What are the chances of that? Well, then that's what got me thinking when I saw that surely phi and pi and e are all related, and because they're basically the same numbers anyway, in one way or another. And when I looked up the size of a DNA spiral, like, forgive me for not being artistic here, but what I noticed was that phi was coded in the distance, the ratio between the segments that go between the ladder rungs. Okay. Well, this size to this size was phi. What are the chances of that? And forgive me, I didn't write this down. Okay, so I'm trying to go off memory, but I think this segment also represented maybe pi or something. I can't remember exactly how I figured it. Okay, but phi and pi were coded in there, and that makes sense because it's when this is being read and duplicated to produce new cells in your body. It's phi and pi circles and Fibonacci sequence being unfolded over time through growth. Growth over time is E. I said, wow, that's really amazing. And it's coded in your body at the very fundamental level. And honestly, that's really astonishing if you think about it. That's really, really amazing. So what else have I missed? See, the reason I do these videos up here at night instead of during the day is, well, I generally work at night. Well, this is my night off. Well, I can't just go to sleep, and then act like the rest. I can't just reverse my schedule. Some of you can probably do that, but I can't do that. So I just stay up when I make videos and just go to bed in the morning like I would if I was working. So I'll just make a video or whatever. And so I have tons of time. So, and I also know that it's not the best time that, more people could watch and all this stuff if I had other time. And this is when I'm up, So, oh heavens, there's so many things I could say and just go on and on and on. And we were talking about Jalea Davis that was killed, and that's like the local murder in our neighborhood. A 20-year-old girl, and her name summed to 108 like the moon, like Captain Marvel, Like we were saying, well, wouldn't you know it, that she died on November 9, 11/9, 9/11. The Weird Al video had a 9/11 in it. I mean, you see this 9/11 on the Captain Marvel movie, okay? If you watch Captain Marvel and you look very carefully, because it only shows it for a couple seconds, but when she's still Carol Danvers, or Secret Identity or whatever, if you will, on the tail end of the plane that she's getting into, this part of the plane, definitely not an artist, okay? But right here is a 119, okay? Well, that's because divine feminine in Good Matronator equals 119. It's not just 9/11. It also means other things. Divine feminine, for example. And that's why a superpowered woman would have that number on her tail. Okay. But you see it in a lot of other videos as well. And so this local murder, Jalea Davis, she died on 11/9. I theorize that there may be a cultish Masonic group that was only literally the next exit from where this killing took place on the interstate. And the name of it was called Ben Bay. Benbey. And Ben Bay Grotto. Well, it turns out that Ben Bay was a real person that lived at the same time as George Washington. And he was also a black guy, and his murder victim was black. Okay? And wouldn't you know it that Ben Bay was born on 11/9? So if you don't think that there are ritual murders going on in your neighborhood, well, there are. There most certainly are. And the police are behind a lot of it, okay? Because the police are part of the Fraternal Order of Police, which is a Masonic organization. It's also interesting to note that a local explosion that happened in my town, this is a very small town, at what's called the Shell plant then, it's called Creighton now, okay? But you're certainly welcome to look it up. But when it was the Shell station, when it exploded, it was on the 27th. And here we just did all this talk about 27, okay? And 7/22. Well, that happened on the 27th. Now, about an hour from here, and not even that far, maybe about a half hour from here, back in I want to say it happened in the 70s, okay? There was a tower, a cooling tower that they were building, and it collapsed, and a whole lot of people that were building that tower died. I would say that it's just bad construction or coincidence or whatever, but guess when it fell? On the 27th. Also, if you really want to see something else interesting, you can go back and look at my video on the Ames fire. AMES. This fire was huge. This was in the city of Parkersburg. I'm actually on the Ohio side, but everything we do is on the West Virginia side. Okay, so if you Notice a little bit of a hillbilly accent because I'm literally within sight of West Virginia. Okay, most people over here have more West Virginia accent than Ohio. Okay. Well, this fire, when they uh, wrote it into the newspaper, they made a point of saying that 27 schools changed their filter. Well, who cares how many schools changed their filter? Because they were getting in the number 27. Your local paper uses this code, but they don't tell you. Okay. Still not sure? Remember how I said it was all coded with pi? Okay. Well, Jalea Davis, the girl who was killed on 11/9, 3 articles that I found from the local newspapers were either printed on March 14, March 14, 3.14 for pi, okay, or on a date that had either date numerology or the day of the year being 227, 22 divided by 7. There's no possible way that there's this much coincidence going on, okay? I have already showed you now what? I mean, are we up to 300 examples? I mean, that high. A lot of examples. So it's not possible for it all to be coincidence. So, well, I think that's all for tonight. It's a pretty big lesson. The video is already big enough. I don't know how many people's going to watch an hour and a half video. But if you do, and you write down everything that was on here on a piece of paper, and don't be ashamed to go back and start from the beginning, pause as many times as necessary, because look, folks, I have hundreds of pages of notes, and that's how I got most of them, listening to Marty Leeds and Jacozy and Zachary Hubbard, and I bought his book, and listen, a lot of it's just pause, write down, pause, write down. Unless you're a freaking genius, you're not going to get all this the first time, okay? But you'll get it better if you write it down. So write it down. Know what's going on in your neighborhood and in this world. There's a lot of psychotic people using geometry, which is not bad in and of itself. There's nothing wrong with geometry. And not every Mason is bad, okay? But there are a whole lot of Masons that are using this code for evil, okay? And probably most of the people in the first 3 degrees have no clue. So your average local Mason that you meet doesn't even know any of this, doesn't even know the geometry, has never done any of his work. He just goes there for, to talk to people or whatever he does, So it is what it is. So without question, though, there's a whole lot of people using these codes to sacrificially murder and kill. This is a small town I live in, and yet the code is everywhere being used to sacrificially kill people, cause explosions and disasters, and so forth. If it's happening in my small town, it's probably happening in yours. So begin learning. Accept some responsibility. Take some time out of your life to learn this code. Feel free to ask questions. I'll do my best to answer. So thanks for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe.